This weekly podcast inspires you to step outside of your comfort zone. My name is Zakir Muhammad, and I'm your host of the Living Legacy podcast. I am a cancer survivor, brand cultivating strategist, author, and world traveler. This Living Legacy podcast features women of purpose sharing stories of resilience. They are single and married. They are artists and entrepreneurs who run businesses and juggle parenthood. If you are ready to hear interviews about professionalism, entrepreneurship, travel, life, and love, you are in the right place. They will share stories of how they overcame adversity while seeing life through a different lens. Let's get into it. So, I am recording this Living Legacy podcast episode live from Atlanta, Georgia. I have moved to Atlanta, Georgia. Of course, this episode is briefly, I'm going to give you an overview of why I chose Atlanta. I'm sure that's your first immediate question, right? Well, before I got married, some of you may know I actually released it as a podcast episode, but I um, was divorced, got divorced March of 2020, and it was hard emotionally, but I used the last few months to just heal. But I knew I had to figure out during my time of therapy. I was trying to figure out where do I want to be, right? Now that it's the best time to um, focus on me, right? So what does Z want to do? What does Akil want to do? And so before I got married, I was in Atlanta like once a month, like clockwork. I was staying with my parents, and it's 2.5 hour drive, especially if you take the back roads. And so I was literally building my name, and I would network so much that my connects, when I tell them that I'm moving, they were like, "Wait, I thought you were always here." So no, now I'm officially here. I was blessed to be able to stay with my sister. Um, that every time, both before I got married and in the early stages of my marriage, as you may or may not know, if you also listen to a previous podcast episode, you'll hear of how I met my husband, and he is actually a foreigner. So he's actually from West Africa. So there was a time period where we were not living together because he was not in the U.S. as of yet. So, I mean, it's always been on my mind. It's always something that I've wanted to do because even at that time, my big sister, was help me look for places. I thought that's where we were going to live as a couple, but that didn't work out, and that's okay. God timing is best. So now I feel like I'm actually setting my roots here officially. Not just uh, coming just for a weekend and leaving. And I'm here, and I'm blessed to be able to say that I am an entrepreneur, full time entrepreneur, being a brand cultivator strategist, helping other small businesses to look good on social media, as well as continue my love for photographing, capturing the essence of people, of women, of more businesses and small business owners. Sorry. So, of course, if this sounds like you and you know someone in Atlanta who needs a photo shoot, send them my way. Visit my website. I'll leave it in the show. Give me the show note. But go to my website, zakiranayar.com/work with me to get access to either one of my photo mini sessions that I will have in a studio, or safe and secure, to be virus free, as I'm also high risk too, so I wouldn't risk you and I wouldn't want to risk anyone else. But I can also do on location photo shoots. But this is the best time of year to really get ready for the new year, especially the best time of year. If you're listening to this in real time, we are approaching Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the busiest holiday seasons ever. And people still shop. In fact, e-commerce is going to be bigger than ever. So I definitely want to make sure that my fellow entrepreneurs are ready to work and have their websites ready, because that's also where my media group, Focus Media Group with the PH, to play on the word photography. But that's where we have an all-in-one service of help you to make sure to not only have the graphic to look good on social media, but also to have your website look good, because first impression is everything. So if people don't get a feel of why they should give you their money, then that's the easiest way to lose clientele. Especially if your feed looks like you're confused, that's the easiest way to lose clientele. All right. So anyway, back to why Atlanta. So basically, actually, I've interviewed both my mom and my dad on my podcast on separate times. So you would have to go to livinglegacypodcast.com and search for mom and dad to listen to that episode. But they actually met in Atlanta. And even though I'm the only child between the both of them, they both have children from previous marriages and relationships, and both of them grew up in Atlanta. So I'm like the only one out of my older siblings that did not really grow up there, but it doesn't feel like I never did because we came here all the time. We have family here. I have immediate family here, and my childhood best friend also moved up here, so I'm not alone. And I'm also where I really wanted to be. I've always wanted to be around other creators and other photographers, and other business owners, smart Black women business owners, Black men business owners. It's just something different to be around the new business mecca with people that look like you. So I did not let a pandemic stop me from the vision that's technically been there since 2014. So, of course, I'm still not far. The good thing about being in Tennessee and Georgia compared to Florida, which is where I was born, is that I'm still not far from, where my mom and dad are, which are in a small town called Etowah, which is also, once again, 2.5 hours away. So, um, it's just a God-given vision on, why I was able to even start my agency in 2014. But of course, between living life and working two jobs in 2019, I couldn't really focus on it. But now, that's what I was working on during the 6, 7 months of being quarantined. Not only was I healing from my divorce, healing from, any other childhood trauma that I had attached myself to. Naturally, as a cancer survivor, we also kind of see things differently, but I've been striving to see things more positively as well. So, it's a city that I moved to, a city that I know will love me from a city that doesn't fully love me, if that makes sense. I left the city that I was only there for someone else for other reasons, right? But if I were to choose where I wanted to be, this is the place to be. So um, yeah, this is where I will be recording. And with that being said, this means a new chapter. This means new things coming, big things coming for the Living Legacy podcast. When it is safe and sound, I would definitely be doing more in-person um, podcast sessions because I've received the feedback that a lot of you love it when it's people that I can really bond and connect with. And what better way to do that with the people, the network that I've built, over the past few years, especially in the entertainment industry. Um, so I'm also blessed to be in A&R, which is Artist and Repertoire. You can actually listen to that podcast episode as well. So, you know, uh, Atlanta is a music mecca as well. So there's so many artists who are needing to, uh, step up and get fulfill their passion. So it's my complete honor to be able to do that as well. And of course, ironically, I still have social media clients, but thank goodness for remote work because I was still in Tennessee and had Atlanta-based clients. So, it's all in divine and God's timing. So I literally, just like most of us this year, we had to be stripped of all the things that were distracting us, stripped of all the things that, all the directions we were being pulled as far as needs and responsibilities. And for me, it's a blessing in disguise that I don't have kids as of yet, but it allowed me to just focus on healing and building and pivoting. But now I'm just, grateful to be able to be near family and hopefully continue to build my relationship with my siblings and their children, my nieces and nephews. And yeah, so that's my plan A, B, and C. So, of course, if there's anyone that that needs services, send them to me. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Living Legacy Podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Living Legacy Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, follow, and download so you don't miss the next episode. If you want to learn more, you can visit ZakirahNayar.com. That's ZakirahNayar.com. Do you have any suggestions on a topic you want to be talked about? Send me an email or leave them in a review. If you love this episode, be sure to share it with your friends.